What's up, everybody? Station, pop, pop, boom. Welcome to Pop Culture Philosophers. Welcome, in fact, specifically to PCP Movie Night. Last week, we talked about The Godfather, and tonight, we're talking about The Godfather Part II. Considered by many, not only one of the greatest sequels ever made, if not the greatest, but one of the greatest movies ever made, if not the greatest. Very excited. We got an excellent panel here tonight to talk about this movie from 1974, directed by Francis Ford Coppola. First of all, we got Manny Corleone.
Hey, Robbie, thank you so much for inviting me into your home and into your family. I think, am I muted?
No, that sounds great.
Oh. No, it doesn't. It doesn't. It sounds like an old ass like Ronald Reagan, and I have to apologize.
Bro, I tell you what, man, your skills have improved since She-Hulk. I think She-Hulk was dragging you down.
It was. I'm limited by the script. It lacked focus, and thus so did my designing. So.
Yes. Okay, I understand. We also got Brooks in the house. So this is going to be a first-time watch for Brooks tonight, right?
Yeah, sure is.
We're very excited to have you here.
I'm excited to be here, man.
And then rounding out the panel tonight, because Perry, unfortunately, is dealing with a power outage. And I'm like, dude, I told you, you got to pay that utility bill. You can't push it. You can't just trust that they're going to take. No, I'm just kidding. He's dealing with a power outage in his area. However, we do got the classiest of us all, Jelani. What is up, my man?
Hey, what you got to do is you got to get a little rasp in your voice, and then you can say it how you want to say it. But
I think Manny's was better, actually, Jelani. No.
It was.
Oh. Yeah, and put some cotton balls in your cheeks, man. That's the thing too, right? Put some cotton balls.
No cotton balls, man.
Leaves something to be desired.
I love that we all have a horrible Vito Corleone impression. Thank God Robert De Niro's not as bad as us. I make him an offer he cannot refuse. Like, you guys can't do anything.
I make an offer he can't refuse.
Yeah.
Hey,
like,
butter.
I have so many hopes for you, Michael. It's so stupid. Everybody out there watching right now, thank you so much for joining us. We got GTK Comic. We got Jorm in the house. Two Gun Pedro in the house. Yeah, we always bring in the controversy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Big Herm up in the house. What is up, my man? Eric, look at all these beautiful people in the chat. Speaking of beautiful people, let's talk about this movie filled with beautiful people. I love this movie. Now, a lot of people say this is better than the first one. And throughout my entire life, I've always been like, I love Godfather 2, but I think the first one is very special, and it's definitely my favorite. For the first time in my life, I legitimately now have been swayed in the other direction. As much as I love The Godfather, and we gushed about it last week. If you missed that episode, definitely check it out. Godfather Part 2, I think, is a more complex on a technical level and a thematic level than the first one. However, just like Bride of Frankenstein and Frankenstein, or Mad Max and The Road Warrior, you can't have two without one. And Godfather 1 and 2 are a perfect saga. And Francis Ford Coppola even said, that's it. We don't need any more. We'll talk about that next week. Anyway, I love this film. It blows my mind. This movie is 3 hours and 20 minutes long. In a day and age where my number one complaint about movies is that they're too long. Like, how many times you see me to review a new movie and I'm like, it's too long, it's too dark, right? Like, that's what I'm doing. No, it's about the pace. It's not about the length. That's what we've been saying here. In fact, we need a t-shirt. It's not about the... that's got an innuendo too. That works really well. It's not about the length, it's about the pace. That works for sex, actually, y'all, if you really think about it. Spelling it out for you. Anyway, I love this film. I think it's brilliant. Robert De Niro doing a young Vito Corleone. He's doing an impression of Marlon Brando's impression of Vito Corleone, right? But it works. Two stories going on at the same time. Perfectly timed with the way that with the way that they cut back and forth between them. In the commentary, Francis Ford Coppola says that initially it was like a quicker cut. They were like a little bit in 1917 and then a little bit in the 50s, right? They like would go back and forth like that quicker. And he realized that the audience needed more time to kind of gel in. You know what I'm saying? And man, this movie's amazing. Al Pacino, the entire cast is amazing. The structure, what a crazy ass task. Let's make a sequel to what is considered one of the greatest films in American cinema history, right? Let's do another one. What happens? You know, where do you go with that, right? So they use some of the stuff in the book that they didn't use before, and they craft a new story about what happens to Michael. And oh my goodness, it's filled with humor. It's filled with tragedy. It's filled with just a human element that is so sinister and so brutally honest. And it's also, as we talked about last week, kind of, you can extrapolate all of that stuff out. And the Corleone family is any immigrant family in America, any American family. You can say it's America. I fucking love this movie. It really sold. Like, I have never in my life thought that it was better than one until this time. And maybe it's my age, you know, maybe it's understanding what it is to wreck a life at age 38. You know what I'm saying? Maybe I understand. I don't know. But I love it. Manny, what do you think about Godfather Part 2?
Godfather Part 2 is it. When I was younger and watching this, it felt shorter than the first one. I felt like this one moves a little bit better. And like you said, it's a package deal. You can't really have one without the other. It mirrors the first film in a lot of ways. It's kind of like Evil Dead 2, right? Like it hits similar notes and expands on what works and just makes it better. Where like, you know, it's not like Aliens, right? Where it's like takes an aspect, just fucking makes it a bombastic sequel. This legitimately is, I think that's the best comparison. Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2. It just takes everything that we loved about it and makes it better, and it works so well. And it has to be, on the rewatch, the best sequel ever made.
I mean, it's definitely one of them. I mean, it probably is. I mean, I'm really high on Bride of Frankenstein. I just fucking grind that shit up, roll it up, and just fucking lay back with it. You know what I'm saying? But Godfather Part 2, I mean, goddamn. And here's another fun, interesting fact. According to Francis Ford Coppola, so if I'm wrong, blame it on him. But he said that this was the first time that a movie sequel was called just the title and then Part 2, right? Like that never happened before. Like we didn't have Rocky 2 yet. We didn't have, you know, Rambo. They never got that fucking naming structure down, right? But everything, even, and I was thinking about it, it's like all those sequels, like in Universal, they all have different names. Bride of Frankenstein, Son of Frankenstein, Ghost of Frankenstein, right? The Mummy's Hand, the Mummy's Curse, all this kind of stuff. It's true. Like people didn't want to do that because there was this idea. The executive said to Francis that, because I know Francis, you know, we chill, you know, on the me, him, and Nick. Anyway, he was saying that the idea was, people would see it in the papers and say, Godfather Part 2, I already saw that movie. I guess this is just the second half. Well, how stupid do they think we are? Okay? They really do think we're fucking stupid. Brooks, you've never seen this film. You watched the first one for the first time last week, and we talked about it. You have read the book. So I'm curious, what did you think about Godfather Part 2?
I think it is a really great movie, but I'm going to go ahead and get out of the way. I have one gripe with this movie, and it was that the flashback scenes with Vito, there were no subtitles, and so I could not understand anything that was going on.
There's subtitles. Did you watch this
subtitles.
one? Did you watch it on Drew's Plex server?
He did.
You got to go in and actually manually change that.
What?
Yeah.
There's
I had to do that.
Oh, you didn't understand half of this movie then.
Yeah, like I feel like I missed, but still, like even so, like the part of the movie that, you know, I think really shines is it's like this is more of a character-driven movie, I think, than the first one. You know, it's all about the dynamics between the characters. It's Michael in particular, like Michael's relationships and, like, you know, his rise to power, and, like, you know, Michael's just flexing all over the place in this movie, man. He's got to flex on everybody, and, you know, some might say he's flexing a little too much, but you know, I think he still does seem to have kind of an almost level-headed approach to things. but also at the same time, it feels like, he's lashing out a lot. He's getting more emotional. He's almost more like Sonny in this movie than he is in the first one.
But passive aggressively, yeah.
Yeah,
But he's
a lot more on the down low than Sonny was.
He's still very smart though, in Machiavellian. Like he's playing all of these sides. Like when he tells, what's the dude in I knew I'd forget all these people's names. What's the dude in Miami?
Hyman Roth.
Yeah. Like when he tells him, oh, it's a Frankie, what's his name?
Pangelia or something.
Pangelia.
Frank Pan, yeah.
That was supposed to be
Pantangeli.
Yeah, Pantangeli. That was supposed to be Clemenza.
Right.
Right. But Francis, my homie, says in the commentary that he had these weird like demands to come back, including that his homie would write his dialogue for him. And Francis Ford Coppola is like, if it was money, we would have handled it. But I can't have somebody write your dialogue for you that I don't, you know what I'm saying? So
well, part of
the other guy.
Part of that's also Coppola not writing the fucking, like, not hammering out the dialogue for the scene until the day they shoot. Like that's got to be some stressful shit.
Well, on this one, he actually wrote a script. In the first one, he says that basically it was all like notebook ideas and shit between him and Mario, right? Mm-hmm. And in this one, he wrote the script, and Al Pacino said, I don't like the script. I'm not going to do it. And he was already in pre-production. They're building sets and shit. And he's like, bro, you can't pull out now. And he's like, tell you what, I'll rewrite the script. You come here on Friday and we'll go over it. And so we rewrote the script. Francis said he sat down, pounded out the script for over a couple days. Al Pacino shows up. He reads it. He goes, I like it. This is better. And then he goes, were you really going to quit? And he goes, no, you just needed to rewrite that script. Al Pacino, 2 years into his career, basically being a star, is already like fucking
prima donna shit.
He's Michael Corleoneing it. You know what I'm saying, man? Hell yeah. But I'm glad you liked it, Brooks. It's unfortunate that you Plex is a bitch about that.
Yeah, you gotta like get in there. You gotta get in there and like click subtitles. I had to do the same thing, man, because I was like, I knew already. I was like, half this movie's gonna be in Italian. So I was like, attacking Drew. And Drew was like, just go into the settings, man, and just change the subtitles.
And it leads me, you mentioned the same thing last week. You were talking to me about it at the shop. You were like,
yeah, because like all the
I was like, there are some subtitles, right? And you're like, no,
there aren't any
subtitles.
There are absolutely none.
On the plus
you have to go in there and actually do it.
Yeah. Flex is weird like that though, but they have a lot of subtitle options. But yeah, you have to get in there.
You gotta probably have to rewatch anyway. So I probably
at least it's the part from the book that he couldn't understand that he had already read. So at least
I knew kind of what was going on, but like I was just wishing, man, I wish I knew what they were saying because like so much of it is like just dudes talking.
Yeah, it's Vito. It's Vito meeting
watching two dudes talking at each other in Italian. It's like, why am I watching this?
Yeah.
That's pretty fucking funny, man, to be honest with you. But you still do the work, as Joram says. And you're right, Dylan. Goddamn, Pacino wasn't playing, man. He was like, no, you need to rewrite this fucking script. I'll fucking go hang out with you in San Fran afterwards. Jelani, what do you think about Godfather Part 2?
Come on, man. Come on. Like, come on, man. This is like one of my favorite movies of all freaking time. I've probably seen this like 4 or 5 times. Like, sometimes by itself, just to watch this movie. It's how good this movie is. It's not too long to me because it's telling 2 stories and they're just enwrapped in each other. And then when you watch this movie, you understand a lot more about the Godfather and how Vito's rise to power comes into play. Most of the things you missed, Brooks, was basically in the Vito timeline. He is like how he becomes the Don, how he meets Tessio, how he meets Clemenza. Clemenza helps him steal that rug. So he goes that's Clemenza.
Tessio is
that's Clemenza.
The character, right?
Right.
But yeah, basically, they steal a rug. He steal a rug. He kills a dude. You got it, right? Yeah. You understood.
No big deal. Yeah, that's how you do it. But it's gangster shit, and it's so clean. Like Michael, I call this the Breaking Bad movie, even though both movies are basically Breaking Bad, because in the beginning you start with like Michael Corleone. He's this war hero. He comes back in, and he doesn't want any part of the business. And then over time, he just, his father shot and all these things happen. And then all of a sudden he's like the mastermind. He is the guy that is in charge. He's moved the family to Nevada. He's got senators in his pocket and judges, lawyers. He's basically the most powerful gangster in like the United States. And from coming from those beginnings to where he is in this movie, it's just, it's good and evil, like on its turn. I call this the Breaking Bad one because that's exactly what happens in Breaking Bad. And it's so unique to watch the rise of Michael Corleone, because at the end of the film, he doesn't trust anyone. He doesn't trust his own family. He can't trust his wife. He can't trust anyone. And this movie is just while he thinks he's doing things that are good for the family and trying to raise the family to a higher level and become legitimate, he's also pushing those same people away by doing his own thing and his own machinations that he believes that he's going to do. And this movie is so freaking powerful because on one side you see Vito trying to do the same thing, but he does it in a 1917 way. He kills the Don and becomes the Don. How easy that is, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like Highlander, you get his quickening. And so,
and what I love about that is the difference too between him and
how their trajectories.
What's that dude's goddamn name?
Which one?
The Don.
Oh, the one in white.
Finucci.
Don Finucci.
Like the difference, like he is based solely on greed, and with Vito, it's more like you do me this favor. I'll always remember it. You know what I'm saying? That's what he's saying every time he does that, by the way, Brooks.
I remember it.
He's like, do me this favor. I'll remember it. Right. And everybody's like, they're giving him free shit, And I love it because he doesn't take I love this bit. Like when he loses his job because Finucci's like, my nephew's here, and you give him this guy's job, basically. Right. And the guy's like trying to give him some food, but he won't do it. Right. But he goes and finds like a pear for his wife. Right. And like, it's something that he did, that he earned. And then I love that when they steal the carpet. And by the way, I love that carpet sequence because the whole time he's just like, we really going to steal this thing? Because he tells him, he's like, oh, my friend's going to give me this rug for you. And it's like, no, dude, you're going to kill a cop over a fucking rug, right? And like, I just love the whole scene. But he has no problem accepting that gift because he feels like he earned it. And that's where you start getting this idea of like, he's realizing how this community is run, right? And how he can play around with it and the unfairness of it. Because he keeps saying, why does he treat Italian people like shit? We got to look out for each other. We're all immigrants here. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's fantastic. Sorry, it's rambling. I love these fucking movies.
Love it, man.
It's so much to gain from it. And there's so much to learn and never do. Because some of this stuff, you don't do it. It's not a good idea, kids. Don't try this. Any of this.
Don't kill your brother.
Yeah, don't kill your brother, man. It's not cool. But it's such a complex film, and it's like one of the greatest films ever made. It's shot beautifully. The music's fantastic. From the last one, I mean, I can't gush more about freaking Godfather, but Godfather 2, man, hey, Godfather 2 Part 2 is bigger than U.S. Steel.
Nicely put. All right. Once again, all the technical stuff thrown aside, brilliant performances. Francis Ford Coppola he's big into like improvisation and like rehearsal, right? So they have this whole estate where everybody lives, the Corleone estate in like Lake Tahoe, right? And that was like real, their houses and shit. And they actually lived in those houses while they were making the movie. So I thought that was neat. But one day, as an exercise, he made all of his actors just improvise being their characters that day, living in these houses and interacting with each other. If I was an actor, I'd be like, fuck that shit, bro. You tell me when the cameras are rolling, man. I'll be ready. But no, it was like he cared so much about it, and he got some amazing performances out of people. Now, I've been doing this a lot lately, and I'm going to do it again. I'm going to go first. I don't want anybody to steal mine. I'm going with full-on Al Pacino in this one, man. Michael Corleone.
Yep.
I like him in the first one a lot. But I do like Marlon Brando, right? A lot better. I do love Sonny. James Caan's Sonny as a character just appeals to me. And this one, it's the best performance in an American movie, I think, by almost anybody. Like, everything he does is so subtle and nuanced. It's all through his eyes. There's only a couple of moments where he allows, through emotion, his inner state to be seen. But you see it, his inner state, the entire time because of his eyes. Dude, it is amazing. Just next time you watch this movie, study Al Pacino's eyes. It is fucking brilliant what he does in such a subtle, nuanced way. Nobody acts with their eyes or their face like Al Pacino does in this one. Kills it. And the tragic story of his fall into isolation, and it's a cold isolation. Michael is cold in this.
He pushes everybody away.
Cold.
Everybody.
And for instance, with the eyes, he's always staring right at people. He never breaks that eye contact. Fredo's the exact opposite, right? Fredo can't look at people in the eye, right? And then the scene with Connie, where she's like bringing in her new boyfriend, and she's like, "We're gonna get married." He never looks at that guy. Like, that's and I'm like, I do that sometimes. It's like
I do
almost
that
like to belittle someone, be like, "You ain't important. I'm not even gonna gaze upon you." I don't know. I'm just saying, Al Pacino's amazing. What's a performance you want to highlight, Manny?
I want to echo what you said about Al Pacino and that fall from being a super subtle actor to hooah and fucking, all this sensible woman overacting shit that
He's
he
got
does
that
nowadays.
one moment. He's got a couple moments of that in this movie. But because he's so restrained, when it comes out, it's explosive. Like with the scene with Kay, where she tells him that she's had an abortion. Or the scene where he goes to see Frank and he's like, "My house, my own house." We're getting Sin of a Woman, Al Pacino, right there, man.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh, that's such a great scene too.
The Fredo scene, dude. He just grabs him. It's like, look, he's about to wring his fucking neck.
It's the most vicious brotherly embrace in all of cinema.
Oh man,
you got him. He's amazing. I mean, we need to talk about Pacino because this is his film. This is actually his film. We should all say something about freaking Pacino. He's freaking nuts, man. In this film, this is the most cold and calculating I've seen him. In The Godfather, he was that. He took all the 5 families out like really quickly. This one, it's like he was kind of on the ropes for a second because he didn't know where he was going, but at the same time, he knew that Hyman Roth was screwing with him. He knew, like, he just got these. He kind of knew it was Tessio all along in this movie, but he was like one step ahead. But at the same time, he was still kind of like on the ropes, not knowing who was like betraying him until he finally figured it out especially with Fredo's betrayal, with Fredo like telling that he knew Johnny Ola. Like he said he just met Johnny Ola that day, and then all of a sudden, like they take him to that weird club.
Fredo's so fucking stupid.
He's just so dumb.
Just like Connie said, he's just so helpless without you, Michael.
It's not his fault, though. It's not his fault. They didn't really, give him too much to work with going forward. And like he's marrying dumb ladies, but he never got that advice. And like if Sonny had been there still, maybe they would have knocked some more sense into him. It's an older brother kind of thing. And Michael never presumed, like Michael is the youngest, but Michael has that power. But at the same time, Fredo's like, "I'm the older brother. You should be giving me more." And it's their juxtaposition, because especially when he finds out and he tells him in that room, "I don't want to see your face. I don't want to do any of that." And Fredo's not looking at him, or he's not looking at Fredo, but Fredo's sitting in a chair flopping. Just, you can't love me. And he can't stand up and like look at Michael and like defend his position. He's just, he wants to be dominant, but he's in a submissive pose, and Michael's standing over him.
Fredo's been coddled and entitled his whole life, right? And he's definitely the Jan Brady of the Corleone family. Like 100%.
It's Michael.
Right. So,
right. And it's okay if Mo Green slaps me around. It's okay. It's okay.
I think my favorite line in this movie is when he says to his enforcer, like, I don't want anything to happen to him as long as my mother's alive.
Yep.
That was a compromise because Francis was like, I think we need Michael to kill Fredo in this movie. And Mario Puzo was like, no. He would never kill his brother. And then he's like, the one concession, he goes, you can do it as long as Michael makes sure that it doesn't happen until the mom's dead. And that's a cold moment. And it adds so much tension because now when we see her funeral, we're like, fuck, dude.
Yeah. You're dead, son. Your dad made up and everything and hugged. And I was like, oh, he's going to kill you now.
Somebody go help that man.
Oh, that motherfucker dead.
Exactly. Manny, what's another performance you wanted to highlight?
You know what? I'm gonna go with my initial pick from last time. I'm going with Tom Hagen yet again. I feel like understated is an understated way of putting what he brings to this film. He's got menace, he's got intellect, he's got everything that Michael has except for black hair. Like other than that, these guys are cut from the same cloth. And I know the big thing is that the third film was supposed to be about them going after each other or whatever and fighting for dominance, and that would have been a really freaking cool movie to watch, because they really do. They are two ends of the same spectrum.
Yeah,
I feel like
they couldn't work out that deal, right? That's one of the biggest tragedies of Godfather Part 3.
Oh man,
you don't have Tom Hagen in it. Why?
And just to give him like a passing mention too, like
and it's like Robert Duvall. I get it, man, but bruh, come on, you're being called on to do Godfather 3. Make that shit work.
Yeah,
but
he was an Academy Award winner.
But you gotta.
He's an Academy Award winner for Tender Mercy.
James Caan came in for one scene in Godfather 2 and got his entire salary from the first film. So it's like, if I'm Robert Duvall, I'm like, yeah.
As much as I love Tender Mercies, who remembers that film for the most part? Like, I love it. We all know it. I have it on DVD. I don't even know if there's fucking Blu-ray. Should be. It's an amazing fucking movie, but we all know The Godfather. And that's like the stigma that Godfather 3 has, which I don't think is completely earned. We'll talk more about that next week. But I am pleased to know that Francis Ford Coppola, he didn't think that was a finished film. And now he finally is kind of more proud of a finished film with the coda, Death of Michael Corleone. And that's why I encourage everybody by next week to watch both versions of the film. But Tom's amazing. There's so much more subtlety in his performance here. So much more that we're given about his character, the way that he wants Michael's respect. He feels like he's been outed because he's not allowed to be involved in, but there's a reason why Michael did that, you know?
Right.
But then
he's compartmentalizing.
Exactly. And when he has to go off to Cuba and figure out all this shit with Hyman Roth and Frankie Five Fingers got Freddie bag of donuts guy.
Johnny Ola, man.
Yeah. But not Johnny Ola. I was talking about the guy in New York who took over their operations. Frank.
Frank Pentangeli.
Yeah.
Pentangeli.
I love it.
Do you want to say Langella every time, Robbie? Because I fucking do every time.
The only thing that makes these movies better is if Frank Langella was in there somewhere. That would be really cool. But whatever. So, but Tom's a great one, man. I just really, god damn, I wish we could have got him in 3.
And it's set up so great better in that last scene.
They were gonna make them bad guys, like oppose each other. Yes. Tom Hagen and Michael Corleone were supposed to go against each other because they were like, I got to control this family now. I have to.
There's so much of that relationship that is put into that context from the outset. You've got Tom, getting out, Michael saying, "You're out, Tom." Like there's this weird fucking tension that Michael has. And then in that last scene, it all gets contextualized with one fucking exchange when Tom goes, "Me and your father have had a lot of conversations about your future." And Michael goes, "You and my father are having conversations about my future?" Like it right away, I feel like that is the fucking linchpin moment when Michael realized that Tom is a threat to me because Tom is closer to my dad. Tom commands respect. He's already in this. And even though he doesn't want it, there's still something fucked up when your dad brings the neighbor kid to the fucking baseball game and buys him ice cream. You know what I mean? And didn't bring you. That I feel like there's some shit there that we never got to explore.
Yeah, goddamn. Fucking Robert Duvall. You'll make the 6th day But you won't fucking do Godfather 3. I love The Sixth Day, by the way. I really do like that movie a lot. I think it's
about
that's the Schwarzenegger one?
yeah, Schwarzenegger clone
Oh.
sci-fi movie. I actually really like that movie. Maybe we should do that for
dude,
or something.
when the gal re-pierces her ears, always fucking freaked me out in
Yeah.
that movie after she gets anyway. Yeah,
She got to get her tattoos. And
last time I saw that movie was on VHS. Goddamn. Anyway, Brooks, what's a character or performance you want to highlight?
I chose an obscure character because, like, I always kind of do, but he didn't have a lot of screen time. But I really like the dude that was Michael's like enforcer guy at the beginning. The dude with the black hat.
With the black hat.
He kind of got early on. He's kind of like the Luca Brasi of this movie.
That's what I was gonna say. I
He
call
is
him
Luca Brasi
Part 2.
Yeah, because like he's set up to be this badass,
He's Luca
but like
Brasi.
he gets like knocked out so early on in the movie. It's kind of like that. It's kind of like he has to be though. Like they gotta take the most badass guy out first, to show Michael they mean business.
Yeah.
But I just like that character. I just like how his aesthetic, I guess, and the way the actor portrayed him is just like very. I love the way him and Michael did the little exchange of looks basically, so he get his orders basically. Like
they knew.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really great performance. He stands out. I just wish that, come on, bruh, like you kill Hyman Roth quicker. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, man. He was really squeezing. He was like, okay, they're about to take a toast. Let me get the fuck in there. If it wasn't for the revolution, they would have been fine, right? He would have gotten away with it. In the commentary, there's this bit where Francis Ford Coppola starts talking about they're called button men, right? And he's like, I don't know how all these people learn this or why they do it, but every button man, they do this thing where they're on screen where they like shimmy around, like they're always like looking around and like moving. And he's like, maybe it's a way to get noticed when you're on screen, but like they all did it and it's become like synonymous with like mafia movies and shit where like they're all like moving a lot and shit like that. He says he calls it the button man dance. I thought that was really cool. What about you, Jelani? What's a performance you want to highlight?
I got so many, man, but I will go with I want to do two, but I'm going to do Al Pacino. First of all, as a young Vito Corleone. He is amazing.
Robert DeNiro.
Robert De Niro. I mean, I say Pacino. Pacino, De Niro. Yeah, I do it all the time.
All Italians look the same to you. Is that what you're saying, Jelani?
They all look the same. They all look like. Oh no,
not all of them. Just them three motherfuckers. Always like
Yeah.
they just they're always in the same movies. Yeah,
they do the same things. They're Goombas or whatever you call them.
Talking to me.
Over me.
Talking to me.
Yeah, I'm over here. But I love his character. He didn't do like a Marlon Brando impression. He did a great job. I just think I think he did say, yeah, make him offer you can't refuse. He just said it off.
He does
off the
do an
cuff.
impression though, because he does
It's a
do
little.
he does the raspy thing, but he also like he has all the
He
movement
has the mannerisms.
where he touches,
Yeah.
like, and things like that. He has all of that down. They
Yeah,
just should have put some cotton balls in his fucking cheese, you know?
That's it. That's all you need to do. And I know Brando doesn't do sequels, but he didn't need to for
They
this one.
almost had Brando down for this. He was he was going to show up to do that last bit at the end, but he didn't think he was treated fairly financially for the first one. So Francis Ford Coppola then came up with the idea of having him show up in presence in the background and then lingering on Michael alone at the table, which I think works better than if
That's
he
a lot
showed
better.
up, right?
A lot better. It works really well. I love Pacino. I love De Niro. I love my next favorite would have been Hyman Roth.
He's great.
I don't know. I keep
Chest
forgetting
hair
his
and all,
name.
man. He's great.
He is like freaking awesome. You know he's the bad guy from Jump Street. Like I think I got it when Michael was in the freaking house with him and his leg was all kicked up on the chair watching TV. I was like, oh yeah, this the motherfucker. And this is the first time I watched it. When the first time I watched it, I was like, yeah, that's him. He the one pulling the strings.
The scene where he tells the story about Mo Green.
Yeah,
He's Oh
Yeah.
my, that's such
He
a
is
good scene.
pissed.
And I didn't
He
ask
is
no
pissed.
questions because I knew that
I
Mo
know.
Green had a loud mouth.
Business.
I didn't ask any fucking questions. Like, dude, like that's so
Yeah.
intense, man.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
He exudes it. He's just as calm and collected as Michael is, and he's trying to mentor Michael, but or he's pretending to mentor Michael. That's the thing. It's not he wants him dead because he knows what happened to Mo Green, and I love how that ties into the first movie. You're just like, oh yeah, he killed Mo Green, and like Mo Green built Las Vegas, and they'll never have a statue or a plaque in it for his name. And he was,
and that's based on what
absolutely
is it?
awful.
Who was it?
Mhm.
Bugsy Malone.
Bugsy Malone.
Bugsy Malone. That's the kind of
Bugsy
character.
Siegel
Or
or
Bugsy
Meyer
Siegel.
Lansky. Either
Yeah.
one of those two.
Yeah, they're the ones that built Las Vegas from nothing, from the desert to the oasis. But
Do you know who I am? I'm Mo Green. You don't buy me out. I buy you out.
You out. And last one I get out because I mean there's so many great characters. Dang, the Senator Cleary.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness! I don't know what I did to that girl.
I would never harm that
I never
girl.
hurt that girl. I never hurt that
Dude,
girl.
when
I'm
he
like,
shows
what
up
did you
in the beginning,
do?
and he's like,
Yeah.
this
I
is a
hate you.
subtle bit that I
hate you,
love.
Guinness.
He says Vito Corleone, like he says like Vito Corleone.
Vito Corleone.
Yeah, like he's intentionally saying their names wrong because then he says it correctly in that same bit.
Yep.
Like, oh my goodness, it's so fucking good. And when Michael's sitting there,
He
you just
shows
know
no
that Michael just
discipline.
wants to kill that motherfucker.
Yeah.
And he's thinking right now, he's like, we're gonna get you, bro. You have no like, here's my counter offer. Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. And you will pay the
And you'll
fucking
pay for the
license fee.
fees. Yeah. It's like, yeah, dude. The thing about him is like how easily they got him. Because I don't know if he did something to that girl. Oh, thank you. And I don't know if he did something to that girl or if Tom and Michael set it up to where something happened to that girl when he was drugged.
Oh, they did it, bro.
They
did that. This is the horse head in the bed scene for this movie.
Yeah. And it's wow, it's very I think it's more powerful than a horse in the bed. It's just it's crazy because like what did you
a
do?
hua in the bed's worth 2 horses in the bed.
That's right.
That actor is ballsy as shit too. Because in the commentary, Coppola says he's just improvising shit. And it's like, could you imagine saying some of that kind of fucking it's not even microaggressions, it's straight up racist, some of the shit he says to a room full of Italians being directed by an Italian.
He know he's gonna get hurt.
He's like, fuck it, I'm just gonna say whatever the fuck.
I just don't want your people around me.
My favorite line in the whole goddamn movie, and to me, it's what this movie's about, is when he does that whole spiel and Michael looks at him and goes, "We're part of the same hypocrisy, Senator." Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's no difference between Michael Corleone and that fucker.
Not at all.
You know what I'm saying? Not
at all. That's it. Right. I mean, there's so many characters, man. I mean, I can keep going. Clemenza is still awesome. I still love Clemenza from
the young Clemenza.
The young
awesome.
Clemenza. Yeah. He's the guy from When Harry Met Sally.
That's
I can't
the dude. City Slickers.
Yeah, he passed away. Yeah,
yeah, he did, man.
Yeah.
We need to do City Slickers. And maybe even City Slickers too, The Legends of Curly's Gold.
Curly's Gold. Yeah.
Man.
Those are good ones.
My God. Anyway, style and structure. Oh my goodness. So it's Gordon Willis or Lewis?
Wilson.
Willis. Gordon Willis is the cinematographer.
Yeah, Gordon Willis.
This is way better than the first one. And I think the cinematography is amazing in the first Godfather. He gets it in this one. Like there are moments in The Godfather where maybe it does present overly dark or something. That doesn't happen here. Everything is well crafted. It's like he went for something with Godfather, pretty much achieved it, and then he refined it to the next fucking level. The editing is superior in this film. They have 2 stories going on, and I know that he wanted to do more quick cutting between the 2, but the way that it's edited together, every story beat in story A connects with the story beat in story B, like the beginning to the end. Like it's flawless. It's like, how is this not super meticulously planned from the beginning? The fact that this is just happenstance in the editing is absolutely amazing. The writing, oh my goodness. So you do these parallel stories, and in one story, it's the rise of the Corleone family, but the other story is basically the fall of the Corleone family. And then when it hits the crescendo at the end, and he is now Don Vito Corleone at the end of this movie, he's got his family, he's made it, he's on the rise. That's the moment where Michael has basically wrecked this family. Probably still, they're still doing good in business. Obviously, we find that out in part 3. They're still making money, churning and everything, but his ambition, his dream, what he wanted to do, 5 years, this family will be legitimate, right? No, he wrecks everything. And oh my goodness, that scene when he's like with his mother and he's like, things are different now, though. You can lose your family. Like, and just the disconnect, and it's the way that parallels to, it's goddamn masterful. I was going on and on and on last week about how The Godfather was a pitch perfect script. Godfather Part 2 leveled that shit up like 100%. This is a task that shouldn't have been able to be accomplished, you know, on the level of refinement and skill technically that it is, and it is. It's fucking amazing. What do you think about the style and structure of this film, Manny?
It is everything that the first one we praised for last week, just leveled up. More money, more time, more care. The idea that you know, the director's not like on the verge of getting fired every day when the dailies get checked. That makes for a better product, right?
And he 100%, like, in you apparently listened to the commentary too.
Yeah.
But when we were chilling with our homie Francis, Manny, he was telling us, you know, that he didn't want to do a sequel, and he came up with a preposterous number. He goes, I want $1 million. And in 1974, that was a big fucking deal, right? And he goes, I want $1 million and full control. And they're like, cool.
Again, the only thing they get mad about is the title. It's like $1 million.
Yeah.
The title. No,
they didn't want to call it Part 2, which is funny because for Part 3, he wanted it to be called The Death of Michael Corleone. And they were like, no, we got to do it. Was the opposite argument. Right?
Part 3.
Oh, but yeah, style and structure perfect. The cinematography works. They have more time to do it. I mean, when you listen to that commentary, it's like it took us a week and dacqueries are melting. Like, it's very they took their time to make it look
he
good.
Points out the fake daiquiri
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah. It's like, that's the one that never melted.
They're filming
Toothpicks and
so
shit.
it's the scenes where where Fredo and Michael are talking and Fredo's drinking banana daiquiris, which I've never had a banana daiquiri, but it sounds really good. But it also sounds like if you have too many of them, you're going to wake up with the most raging headache, right?
Yeah.
And then the scene where they're cutting the cake, and so they're filming it, and the sun's out, but then it keeps going away. So they're like literally just waiting for the sun to come back out to film some more, and the cake and the daiquiris kept fucking melting because it was hot. But the sun wasn't there for the shots, and that just sounds like a pain in the ass. Today they'd be like, green screen that shit.
Oh,
CG in the fucking banana daiquiri.
You would have lights. There would be, you know, on digitals, you can just purposefully underexpose on the digital so you can bring it up in post because fucking digital photography is so much more forgiving. Think about fucking doing that, sitting there exposing for the negative every time.
There's some underexposures done intentionally on this film, which I think is great, man. Yeah. Like, for real. Like, and apparently, like, you're the photographer out of the four of us, but like he was doing something where, like, what is it? I don't remember what it is, but he was doing something specifically for the negatives so that nobody would ever be able to fuck with his shit, right?
He exposed directly for the negative. So you can't change that because you can't manufacture white and black. So like if something is overblown, it's fucked. And you can't add anything chemically to beef that back up.
So, well, thank you. Thanks for explaining that, man. That's awesome.
But it's insane. It's the fucking 70s. And he's just he's like, fuck, we got that Paramount money, fuck it. It's crazy. The actual cutting back and forth between the two, I like it. I think that I think that that's what helps it feel not like a 3.5 hour movie, is the way that it's
and I love the 2 hour. I mean, I love the 2 minute long crossfades. Like, I really love it. It just like takes forever, but it's good because it's like, okay, get ready. We're switching gears.
Coming.
And there's this like old timey sheen to the Vito story, right? That is, it's beautiful, man. Like, it's filmed like most people would film a dream sequence or something, but it's goddamn gorgeous, man.
Yeah, it's got that kind of orange wash, but it's also like the colors are more vibrant because of it too, which is interesting because generally you do flashbacks and it's more desaturated, and this time it brings out that color a little bit more than what we're seeing in the modern time frame, which I thought was an interesting choice. I don't know if it's because of that or if it's because he's using a warming filter. I have no idea, but it really does help. And as far as like the allowing the actors the space to work in this environment, I think is important. Again, there's times where, just like in the first film, you could cut shit faster. You could definitely there are moments, and I don't know if he said it in the commentary or not, or if it was in the last commentary for the last one, where he doesn't move the camera a lot, so there's just like empty fucking scene, like characters haven't walked into frame yet even, and we're seeing that. Normally they would tell you cut, but he allows that shit to linger, and normally we'd be on here saying fucking cut the movie, it's 20 minutes too long, fuck you, Robert Pattinson Batman movie. We would say some shit like that, but in this case it works, and it's just long. Yeah. It is just the way that the film is.
They should have intercut that movie with Thomas Wayne's story when he first came to Gotham. That's what they needed. That's what they needed to do in the Batman. Maybe they'll do that in the Batman 2. Electric Boogaloo. Where I'm very excited for. So.
Bride of Batman. I think we go back to that naming convention.
Bride of Batman. It could be a Damian Wayne movie for part 3, right? It'd be great, dude. Bride of Batman. Talia shows back up.
Talia's
right?
there. Yeah.
She's actually Batman. He's Batman part 2.
Here's your kid.
Hell yeah. I got to go Wiz. So, Brooks, why don't you tell us what you think about the style and structure, and then afterwards we'll just move on to Jelani.
I think this is like a very well structured movie, like especially story wise. Like, I may not have understood, what was going on in the veto sections all the time, but I did, having read the book, I kind of knew, what the deal was. So I wasn't completely in the dark about it. It's just it's fascinating how it's two stories and like the characters are going in like completely opposite directions. Like it's almost like, they're crossing over because like Vito's this guy who comes to America with nothing and has to work himself up to become like, the big shot. While Michael is a guy who basically has always been, he's always been in a successful family. And like, he's trying to make the next step. He's trying to make his moves, try and, and improve himself. But he's going the opposite way. He's gaining power, but he's losing everything he cares about in the process. So it's like a total Pyrrhic victory for Michael, because like the more he gets, like the more he loses, and the things that he's losing are the things that he really should care about. I mean, I think he does, but it's like it seems like he's just so in the game right now that he just has to fucking go all out no matter what. It's like he has to assert his dominance. Like he feels he can't let up at all, or he's gonna he'll die basically.
Yeah. That's actually where it goes, because it's his love for his family that brings it down, and that's a horrible thing to look at.
It's like Vito's dynamic is so different too. Like he's come up like he's his wife. They're living in like they're living in this like kind of
like poverty, but
apartment building type thing, and then he's Vito's always shown as being very supportive of his family, always spending time with them. Whereas like towards the end, like Michael, it's like he's wrecked his relationship with like his son and his daughter and his wife, because of he can't let go the fact that his wife left him. So now like it looks like his son is like unable to even express any kind of emotion about his mother, and you don't know if that's because he's actually mad at her for something, or if it's just because he's afraid that he doesn't want to piss his dad off by doing that. And you can see that his daughter is like really she's really like attached to their mother, and like but because of his pride he fucked it all up. And it's like it seems like he's chasing the wrong things sometimes.
Well, what I love about it is that he feels 100% like he's doing every decision he makes is to protect his family. And I'm not just talking about the crime family. I'm talking about his actual the family, right?
Yeah.
And it in trying to protect the family, he wrecks his family. And it is also speaking to this thing that was happening where you have these immigrant families that have very traditional values in their culture, like Italian families or Spanish families or Irish families, right? Things like this, like the immigrants at this time. And we still have this, right? But like they had this much more like old-fashioned kind of thing, but and they point this out with Fredo's wife, right? Kay is not Fredo's wife, but there is this disconnect between all of the family's spouses and the nature and culture of the family. Like they paint this out in like dinner sequences when they're talking about why do we do this? Why are you doing this? And like there is a disconnect, and it's almost like there was this idea, and I'm not saying it's true, but there was this idea that there's a watering down of familial structure when America kind of started really blossoming in the 50s and the 60s. You know what I'm saying? And you see it now, and the family, the way we think about family is way different than it was back then. You know what I'm saying?
Vin Diesel's involved now.
Yeah, well, Vin Diesel's involved now, but I mean, you got people that choose not to have kids. You got people who have kids later. You have people that have many marriages in their life. You know, that's not something that used to happen back in the day. And that's why I love that moment where he's talking to his mom. She's like, you can't lose your family. He's like, you don't know what it is like today in America, because I'm leaning a little bit into theme here, but we have chosen to place a precedent on capital over family.
Yeah.
And this is what happens. You know what I'm saying? So, Jelaine, did you go?
No.
All right. Style and structure. What you think, bro?
Oranges, man. Oranges. I like the style and structure of this
I'm sorry, real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Manny, you read that. You listened to the commentary. Was Francis trying to say some shit about oranges being a
bad omen.
or some shit? I'm like,
I was about to get into that. Was I not going to get into that?
Yeah. Symbol for death.
Yeah, I was like, what? Oranges? Okay.
Yeah.
It's
if Mike
oranges,
Mignola
man.
can sell me the idea that frogs are an omen, sure, oranges. Right, go ahead.
But yeah, it's shown in all accidentally in the first movie. Every time there's an orange, there's death, because like Vito puts an orange in his mouth to play with baby Mike before he dies, or what is that? But yeah, is it baby Michael?
Yeah, I think it's Michael. Right?
Yeah,
it's Michael, and then the other one's
Michael Vito,
Sophia Coppola.
Yeah, that's right. Lord have mercy. And it's present throughout this movie intentionally. They're putting oranges everywhere. Well, you know, when Vito gets shot in the first movie, he's going to a crate of oranges right before he gets shot. It's things like that. There are oranges on the table with Hyman Roth is there, and they're showing off the gold telephone of the president. You know, you're about to find out that the revolution is coming and it's going to shut down all this stuff. Castro's coming.
We're 2 years away from the 50th anniversary of this film. I am ready for the restoration, The Godfather Part II, the orange edition.
The orange edition. It's all the orange things.
Every time I watch this movie now, I'm going to be thinking about these fucking oranges. I've never noticed all the oranges in this movie.
He sucks. Michael sucks on an orange while he's plotting the killing Hyman Roth.
Did anybody else go, who the fuck eats an orange like that, bro?
Yes.
Are you like a vampire? Are you just like, what are you doing? Peel that motherfucker. Like, what's going on?
Do it. He was getting all in it too. Like he was living that dream. But it's little stuff like that make this movie so well paced, so well structured. Vito goes and gets a free orange. And it speaks later to when he kills Don Fanucci. Don Fanucci gets an orange and as he's walking to his apartment before he gets killed. It's a lot more. Like I said, it's a lot more things, a lot more scenes that you just see, and you're like, "Damn, this orange there! Oh God, someone's gonna die!"
Thank God, The Godfather wasn't mostly taking place in Florida. Jesus.
Yeah, it's nuts. It was in Cuba. They got lots of oranges in Cuba. So it's like it's these little things that bring out this movie. I like the locations. I like how it's all over the country and Cuba, and it's telling, you know, the rise of this family. And I keep forgetting to talk about Frank. Frank used to annoy me. The first time I saw this movie, I was like, I hate this guy. I really hate him. He just gets on my damn nerves.
Especially when you find out that was supposed to be Clemenza.
And
right?
that's Clemenza. Yeah, it would have been better if it was Clemenza, but I like Frank. I like that, you know, it goes to one of his Capodons and that would next take over the house that Vito Corleone lived in. You know, I love that shit. I love how Frank takes himself out, how it's shot. It's beautiful. The FBI guy comes in, and that's Harry Dean Stanton. He passed away a while back. He's the FBI guy. He was in he's been a whole bunch of movies. He was also the guy that gave pants to Hulk and Avenger. He gave the pants to Hulk and Avengers. That guy. That's who that was. And I was like, oh God, he's in this movie. I forgot. But yeah, he finds Frank, you know, dead. And that shot is just beautiful. This thing is like gorgeous. I don't know what it is about, like how they crafted this movie, how it was shot. I know the original movie was like they had a frame and then people just walked into that frame, or they had to stand a certain way to be in the frame that he wanted the shot to be in. And this one, of course, like you were saying before, it takes it to another level. It is a lot. This shit is brilliant. I have no clue why I didn't love this movie when I was a kid, because maybe I was just a kid. But then as I got older, man, I appreciate this film. It's like a man film. It's like I don't know how to explain it. It's like this gusto of mafia.
I don't think it's quite on
bravado.
I don't think it's quite on the Bloodsport level. That's a man.
That's a man film. That's like kicking people. This is like Kings and Successions. This is the game. Yeah, this is Game of Thrones, and it you have to knock someone off the top, you know. And Hyman didn't think he was on the top, or thought he was on the top, and thought he could control everyone. But Michael was one step ahead, and I like this movie. I like the cat and mouse of it. I like how Hyman is like totally defeated at the end of it. I love.
He's been dying from the same heart attack.
He's been dying the same. That's right. And so it's an insane movie. I just love it cut. Yeah, it's beautifully shot.
It's great, isn't it?
It's beautiful.
It's fantastic, man. All right. The music. The music is once again done by Nino Rota, right? And it's better than the first one. I mean, we all love those themes in that first one, the da na 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 na, which they play with here. But there's like this sinister aspect that's brought to it in this one. It's like it's almost like a precursor to Jaws a little bit, right? With some of the not that it's like dun, 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 dun. It's way more subtle than that, but it's like it does have this like and things like that. It's so great. And then listening to our homie Francis when he was chatting with us on the movie commentary, he said that his father did the friend of the Francis. If you ever want to join us, we'll do Apocalypse Now. You can join us. Tell us how hard of a deal that was to do. You know what I'm saying?
I'll hit him up.
Let's hit him
Straight
up,
up, Brando.
But don't be here next week when we talk about Godfather 3. You may not like some of the things that people say.
You won't like that. No.
He won't. He'll sit there and bitch about that.
Yeah, we can get some Hollywood people here. We had fucking Chris Matheson, right?
We got
the show,
co-creator of Bill and Ted. We got on this goddamn channel before we really like adopted the Bill and Ted lingo and all that shit for like full on. Anyway, what was I fucking saying? Jesus, I lost it. Oh, the music. The music's great. His dad, Francis Ford Coppola's dad, did all of the music arrangements for like when the bands are playing and they're doing the shows and all that stuff. So everything that's not part of the score but part of the movie in the music in the movie, he like composed all that. That was cool. The opera they go and see, where I love it. I want to see that. That's an actual opera that Francis Ford Coppola's grandfather did. That also included his biggest Italian music hit is in there that he's singing. about his mom dying or whatever. And I love that bit because he's like, oh, my mom, me mama, the mama mia. Like, I'm like, bruh, like, the hell yeah. I don't know, man. I really fucking love it. The music is phenomenal. What do you think about the music, man?
The music is phenomenal. I really was trying to find ways in my mind to differentiate it from the first one. Music's never been my super strong point on this show. It is better. There's a lot in that. You pointed out the Coppola Senior stuff and doing all those arrangements. There's a lot more festive things, which is crazy because this film is darker, right? And so it's definitely, there's definitely a contrast there in the music, where the score feels like it's getting darker, yet the soundtrack music around it is kind of festive and jubilant. It's strange.
That's another thing about the structure of these movies I love, is that all of the really heinous shit is always juxtapositioned against like a celebratory part.
Yeah.
Like the first one opens with the wedding. This one opens with the christening, right? The first one ends with the baptism, and this one ends. Where the fuck does it end? I don't know if there's an actual
fishing trip.
There's not. There's a fishing trip. I guess that's no.
But
The birthday party. The birthday party. It's
Yeah.
a birthday party, right? And at the very end, when they're waiting on Marlon Brando to show up, and he never does.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
There's left us. Marlon left us. He went out for a pack of cigarettes after Godfather 1. Never came back. And then in part 3, there's some other things, including the funeral. We'll get to that next week, man.
Yeah, he flew to Krypton, by the way.
Krypton.
Well, and DeNiro's storyline ends with that big festival thing in the streets, right? So,
exactly.
And I think that I don't know if that's intentional or if that's just me wanting to read into it, but it is interesting that De Niro's storyline is that typical American gangster rags to riches, becoming this respectful Robin Hood type of the fucking, and it ends with that, that festival, right? It's festive, it's happy.
Yeah,
this is fucking the end of Michael's story, and it's dark as shit. Other people are singing happy birthday to a disembodied voice of Marlon Brando while he's sitting at a table. Like I want to say it's a structural and tonal choice, but it might not be.
I think it is. And it also, that's it where Michael's left alone. It recontextualizes his decision to go to the military. It makes us understand why he did that. Right. Yep. And it isolated him from his family. And so it's showing you that the end of Godfather Part 2 and what gets explored further in Part 3, which we'll talk about next week, it started back then. This has been Michael's journey. He was always on this path. And this is before he met Kay. You know what I'm saying? So, and Sonny fucking sowed the seeds of his own destruction by introducing that dipshit.
Hey, Carlo.
Yeah.
Hey,
Carlo, meet my sister. Hey.
Yeah, Connie.
Connie,
go get him something to drink. Show him the treat.
My sister, he's cute, huh? This is my cute sister. Like, what the fuck kind of weird shit is that? I've never introduced. I don't have a sister, but I can't imagine I would ever introduce her that way to somebody.
I would never introduce somebody to my sister to date her. Like, I've never.
Not at all.
To be honest, I've hated every person my sisters have ever dated or married. And to be honest with you, to this day. So anyway, Thanksgiving's gonna be fun.
I'm Michael Corleone the shit out of all my sister-in-laws. I don't look at a fucking single one of them.
I look, you disappoint me.
Let me know a day ahead of time, so I'm not there.
My brothers are the same way too. They're just like, but I need money, and I'm like, fuck, dude.
I'm really glad my family doesn't watch my YouTube channel. So anyway, Brooks, what'd you think about the music, man?
It was good. It was similar to the first movie, but different in its ways, because, it's a different story. But I don't know if I would say it was better than the first movies, but it is, I guess it's maybe better in a different way,
Well, you also watched it without the music subtitles.
Well,
so
in some ways that helped me, listen to the music better, especially in the veto sections, because I can't understand what he's saying, so I'm just mostly listening to the music.
I feel so bad for you. It's like when you watch Iron Eagle without the
fucking music. I feel like I finished watching. I'm like, this can't be how you're supposed to watch this movie.
It's not.
There's no fucking way.
Brooks for like
Dude, I
3.5
should've mentioned
hours is just like, what the fuck, man? How
I feel
pretentious to not put subtitles.
Yeah, I feel really bad. I didn't tell you that, man. I mean,
You
as I
should.
was doing it, I was like, I'm sure you'll figure it out.
I mentioned it to you back when we did audition because I was like, hey man, just in case there's no subtitles, you might want to go into it, right? So like,
Yeah.
I mentioned it, but Brooks is not the Brooks. I mean, honestly,
You know, I
Brooks
don't
doesn't pay
listen
attention
good.
to us. He doesn't pay attention to me. I'll tell you that at all. I'd be like, Brooks, this is a great book. You'll love it. He'll be like, nah, let me buy this new Star Wars book. And I'm just like, what the fuck ever.
I do love though that Brooks assumed that that's how the fucking movie was made, and not that he made some sort of. He's just like, could you imagine people in the Midwest in the fucking 70s like, oh yeah, no, this is good, this is real good. No, fuck.
Well,
I know
that's
Italian.
Like, my
the
only
movie
complaint
is
about
that,
this
like, the
movie.
has the subtitles with it. Because like
Yeah.
the movie's in English, so I assume like for the Italian parts, the subtitles are just there. Like,
Not when it's pirated.
It never occurred to me that I have to
Sorry.
turn
Oops.
subtitles on for a movie. Like, what am I supposed to turn on the closed captioning or something?
Yes.
I'll tell you this: if you would have owned it in a physical media form, you would have had not
Yeah,
that
like
problem.
if I had it on DVD, I just watched the DVD and like when I thought nothing of it.
Yeah. Well, it is the way it is, man. Maybe you should watch Iron Eagle again too, with the subtitles and the music. Jelani, what do you think about the music in the film?
No, I'm kidding. It was great. It's absolutely fantastic, man. I mean, you can't really complain about the Godfather music part 2. It's gorgeous, man. What do you want me to say about it?
I mean, I don't want to spoil anything, but you can't complain about it in part 3 either, right? The music is solid and all. The music is solid in that movie, man.
I got notes, man. We got notes. I got notes.
Yeah.
I got lots of notes about 3.
Musical notes?
Yeah.
Have you already rewatched it?
Yeah, I watched that one and I'm in the middle of Coda right now.
Oh, nice.
And I'm like,
I've gotten to
it's hard to watch Coda after watching 3. Let's just put it that way.
I think there's a lot to like about 3.
There is.
Anyway, that's another conversation. Brooks probably still hasn't watched it. So
notes.
We'll get into it. But you like the music. You like the music.
Yeah, the music's great. I don't know what else to say about it. Everything I said about Godfather music last week, this week, music, but better.
I think there's more richness to the score.
It's a better style. It's subtle.
It's fuller. It's
yeah.
There's a more sinister approach to it. That's the way I kind of.
You still got the sad trumpet.
Yeah, you always got a sad trumpet in a Godfather film, man. You got.
But I still love Frank though. Frank getting up there trying to do. That's what he wanted. And then they were like, "Pop goes the weasel."
By the way,
that's not the song.
When we were hanging out with Francis when he was talking about this book, this movie. He mentioned that in the scene where Frank is being depositioned, I guess, by the Senate committee hearing or whatever. So they rehearsed it. He said it was great. Let's do it. And they're like, no, it's time to break for lunch. The dude who played Frank gets fucking blitzed at lunch and comes back and he's drunk as shit and he can't do it. And if you watch those scenes, he's drunk, man. When he's like, I don't know anything about Michael Corleone.
I said, sure, yeah, maybe you fucking did it. I don't know.
That's funny as shit. I mean, it's like, you went out for lunch and came back blitzed, bruh? Hell yeah, Frankie.
That's how you do it.
Fucking Allegro and Jetty, whatever the fuck his name is. Man, it's
Tangeli, man.
Langella.
Frank Langella.
Skeletor. Anyway, Skeletori. Anyway. And these movies always make me want to eat fucking Italian food. So I had some like we have this new Italian place in town and I checked it out and it was pretty decent. I had some spaghetti and meatballs and it wasn't a spicy meatball. Anyway, this movie's trying to say something, says a lot of things. Manny, you killed it last week, so pressure's on you, bruh. Just like it was on Francis Ford Coppola to do Godfather Part 2. Manny, what's this movie saying to you?
It's like I'm gonna just say kind of a continuation of the previous theme. We had this is post-war America. This is a juxtaposition of the simpler, more rural pre-World War life of America that we see with Don Vito, where somebody can rise above the ranks and take care of their family and they're earning their respect. Whereas the stuff going on with Michael, this is we kicked ass in World War II, and now we're fucking whipping it out and dropping it on the table every chance we get. I mean, he's become this living archetype of fucking Cold War paranoia. He's scared of his enemies. He's taking chances on shit we don't need to take chances on. Killing Hyman Roth and Sarasota, Florida brothers, or whatever the fuck their names are. Killing them motherfuckers. Tom's like, this is not necessary. We don't have to do that. And
are you talking about the Risotto brothers?
Yeah, whatever. The
Risotto brothers.
Sarasota, Florida. I don't know. I just throw vowels out there.
I can't get.
I'm offending
right,
someone.
So it's the Yaga brothers.
I'm offending. I'm gonna offend
get
some
Franklin
sort of
Jelly fucking Spaghetti's fucking name right either. So.
But that's Korea, that's Cambodia, that's fucking Vietnam. Those are things that you didn't need to get involved with, but fuck, your enemies you're worried about your enemies. It's this complete 180 of the fucking or to double down on what we said last week. It's the American fucking reality versus the American ideal. He is so cemented in the fucking American reality at this point. It's sad to see. It's crazy to see. It's on such a huge scale too. The first film, we're dealing with shit we understand. Somebody killed your brother. Somebody tried to kill your dad. You're taking revenge on that. Like, we can understand that. This is operating on conflicts we can't even fucking get behind. I've seen this movie 100 times. It took me forever to find out what the fuck he's actually doing in Havana. You know what I mean? Until this rewatch, I'm like, oh, they want to put casinos in Havana. That I should have known. I've seen this thing on TNT like 100 fucking times. I had no clue. That's why I was in Havana. I thought maybe he wanted sandwiches or some shit. I have no clue.
He's trying to go legitimate, and I love the
always
idea that
about
he's,
money. Yes.
He's hesitant because he's smarter than Hyman Roth, because he's like, there's something about to happen in this fucking country, bro.
Yep.
It wasn't just because he knew Hyman Roth was behind the attempt on his life. Like, he wasn't sold on this shit. And you see that through his eyes.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's why Peter Gabriel wrote that song. It was actually about Godfather 2. It's not meant to be a romantic song.
I knew it. But yeah, that's what this is. This is post World War II. This is before we're coming into the 80s, the fucking age of fucking greed and shit that we're gonna see in the third film. But this is that fucking post World War II dick measuring contest with Russia, America being encapsulated here. And just like that shit, just like the arrogance of fucking Michael Corleone ending up with him by his fucking self, losing his greatest allies, you know, that's exactly where the fuck we are in our new unilateral fucking America just goes for it shit that we do now. This is what this film is, just this little micro fucking scope view of American history and where the country has gone. And it's it's crazy.
This is America. You know, and
love and leave it.
It's not my favorite. It's not my favorite Sergio Leone movie, but a good companion to that theme is Once Upon a Time in America. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right on, brother.
It's the same nails. Yeah.
Yeah, right on. Speaking of nails, Brooks likes to smoke nails cigarettes just like Silent Bob. Why don't you tell us what you thought? Man, that's the first segue I actually tried tonight. What's going on? Brooks, what do you think about the theme? What's this saying to you?
Well, this movie is like, it seems to share a theme kind of with another Pacino movie, Scarface, and like how the hollowness of the American dream in a way, like, you know, the fact that, you know, we're conditioned to chase after this thing, you know, the wealth, the fame, all this other stuff. But when we get it, like, we end up losing the things we actually care about, you know, like we lose our families, we lose our friends, you know, and when it comes down to it, like what we get does not you know, sustain us, you know. You can't live off of, you know, just money and, well, I guess you could, but, you know.
Yeah, I could.
Depending on your definition of living, you know.
Man,
you can't really live life
alone.
just by hoarding money and, you know, fucking over whoever you come across. It's like you need people around you, you know, you need real things like, you know, companions, you know, friends, family. And it seems like, you know, in Michael's pursuit of you know, of the bag, of, you know, getting that money, he's wrecked, you know, his family, the thing that he's doing all the money grubbing for. It's like, it's kind of an ironic thing that he can't even see it because he's so far into it. And to him, it's just like, he's just playing the game, and like the only thing he can think about is winning. And like, you feel like when he's going to hit a point at some point where he's like, he looks around himself and he realizes that everything he ever cared about is gone, and he's just standing alone in a room with a bunch of strangers.
That's 3.
It's kind of the tragedy, I think, of Michael as the Godfather.
Yeah, it is. It's a tragedy. It's a Greek tragedy. It's Shakespearean. It's fucking brilliant. And that's why I do rather like the attempt they made at Godfather 3. And I'm very excited to check out Coda. Even though it would have been a better film with Tom involved. But it is more of a story of a man trying to find redemption, and he ain't gonna get it, because you done the deed. You know what I'm saying? And worse things are gonna happen to Michael Corleone, and it's unfortunate. Nicely put, Brooks. What about you, Jelani? What's this movie about to you?
Yeah, I mean, it's everything you guys said already. But I go back to my Breaking Bad reference. This is how Walter White becomes Heisenberg. It's just, it's little things like, for example, Walter White was a school teacher, just a regular guy in the world. And then like he got sick and he couldn't take care of his family. Next thing you know, he's in this world where he realizes that he can make the best meth ever, like chemically sound meth. It's the best stuff ever. And he's selling it to air, and it's blue, so it's catchy. So he's selling so much stuff. And meanwhile, he's got a disabled son and a wife who's kind of annoying, but they're in the background. And he gets a new daughter during the whole time, and slowly he's pushing away from that life to go further and further into the meth and further to the problems that he goes into. And once he took a look back and realized everything he loved was gone. He had a partner and a friend that he sold out. It's so much that Breaking Bad takes from Godfather, that just the Godfather Part II, that's just amazing. I love the betrayal in this film, and I love how it's betrayal is a loss of trust on both sides. Basically, when Michael is being told by Kay that she aborted this baby because she no longer loves him and she hates the man he has become, and she just did not want to bring another of his children into this world because of how awful he is. And I'm like,
she had just watched Rosemary's Baby the night before.
Yeah, pretty
so
much.
like it was, even though that film hadn't been made yet in the timeline. Shit.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird how that happens. But it's so many different aspects of just the path that you take. The path that you go down can be either bright and sunny or dark and cloudy. But if you go down that dark and cloudy route and you gain what you want through that route, you turn around and you notice that everyone you love is gone. And even at the end of this movie, Tom is getting slowly kicked out. They were planting the seeds for 3, where they didn't trust Tom either. And I'm like, Tom is his most loyal person. He tells him at the beginning, towards the middle of this movie, that is it's his brother. He loves him. He wants him, he trusts him more than anyone else because he's the last real brother other than Fredo, which he knocks off. And it's so sad that he pushes all these people he even claims to love away. It's a tragic tale. It's such a beautiful film. It is a truly masterful work for us to get so much out of it, as far as, family and the breakdown of family and chasing dreams and, chasing dreams and getting nightmares in return. That's how I treat it. So that's what I feel about it.
I love that. Chasing dreams and getting nightmares in return, because y'all all already said it, just like y'all did last week. So all I can do is just try my best to tie this all together. This is the story of America, and it's told through a family, the Corleone family. Criminal family, but an actual family. It's about the rise of America in the early post-industrial revolution society in the 1900s, the 20th century. So much change happened from 1900 to 1960. You know what I'm saying? And like Manny was pointing out, we went from kind of isolationist, building up, becoming a moral authority in the world, to becoming what always happens when you become a moral authority in anything, a dogmatic authority, right? And now you're interfering in business that's not yours. Now you're complicating business by aligning yourselves with business and interests that are not yours. And you're doing it all for one thing. Like Brooks said, you can't live on bread alone. The cheddar. I could live on cheddar. Is there enough nutritional value in cheddar to live on it? Because I could do that. Just eat one block of cheese a day. Like, this is my allotment of fucking food for today. Anyway.
Are you a cartoon mouse?
I'm sure that would not be fucking good.
No.
But what was I saying? You can't live on just money. It's about capital. And like I said earlier, when the importance becomes capital, money, the acquirement of things, the accumulation of things, when that becomes the priority over family, those closest to you, maybe not necessarily blood, but like those closest to you, when the other thing becomes more important, the family collapses, the system collapses, and you lose your soul. And that's what happens to Michael in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
He lost the start of it was in the first one. This one cements the literal loss of his soul. So much so that when they do, like 15, 16 years later, convince Francis, our homie, to come back to do a third one, it's all about how do you try to reclaim a soul when you've lost it a long time ago, right? And spoilers, you can't. Not really. It just doesn't happen. It's about the decisions we make. This is a story about a family. It's about the breakdown of a family. It's about the breakdown of the familial structure in America in the 20th century. It's the story of America in the 20th century. It's masterful. In this one movie, they tell us the rise of America through the eyes of an immigrant, right? But how much corruption is already so inseeded into the fucking It's not even a fucking word.
Ingrained.
I was thinking, was that actually
so
a
much.
word?
Y'all knew what I was saying.
Yep. We were with you.
We're like
You're the one that
interrupting.
pointed
I'm
it out.
not completely sure.
Yeah, but so much ingrained already into the system, right? So you got to play the system. The system gets more complex. The system gets more dangerous. And now we are where we are. And if there was a Godfather Part 4, bro, it'd be fucked. Let me tell you that. It'd be so fucked. Pinhead would have to show up just to say
Andy
Fucking-
Garcia. Oh,
Be
God.
it'd be fucking Leonardo DiCaprio or some shit.
Well, didn't they want
Departed,
No, they didn't.
man. He did The Departed.
Man, we need to do. Have we done any Scorsese films on this channel?
I don't
We
think so.
haven't.
I don't think so.
Have we not done any Marty films?
We
By
did
the
no
way,
Goodfellas. No.
Our buddy Francis said that initially he didn't want to do Godfather Part 2. So he's like, what if I produced it and picked a director? And they're like, cool, do that. And he goes, I want Martin Scorsese. And they're like, he'll never do a Godfather film. I don't know why they hated him so much. But
Oh shit.
he'd been coming off of Mean Streets, like which was a really great film, man. Yeah, we need to do some Scorsese, man. Oh my goodness. That's one of my favorite directors.
I think if Coppola would have picked Scorsese, they'd have done it. I think the main thing though is he would have ended up Michael, but in real life, because like Michael kind of becomes fucked up because like Vito has all these expectations on him, right? Like he joins the war. Like he shows his family, he's like, I got my own plans for my future. I'm gonna go interfere with Europe. Like he foreshadowed to his family he was gonna be fucking shit up on a global scale, even back then. You know what I mean? And the film ends with him waving fucking Michael's hand. Like Michael don't want to be a fucking puppet. That's what would have happened with fucking Scorsese. Coppola would have been in there, and before you know it, fucking Scorsese be putting out hits on fucking everybody. It would have been terrible.
And yeah, man, excuse me.
You can live on cheese. I'm just letting you know.
You can or can't? What'd you say?
I think you can. I mean, there's no protein. There's no protein, but I mean, we can.
There's protein in cheese. What are you talking about?
This is Kraft cheddar cheese. I just clipped the nutritional facts.
Bruh, that's some processed shit, dude. There's totally protein in cheese.
Dude, if it don't come wrapped in
oil.
plastic, I can't eat that shit. I'm an American, dude. I'm red, white, and blue here, all right, and bloated enough to show it. This is fucking Kraft cheddar cheese.
I think that's some processed shit. That's like Velveeta or some shit, man. Like, I don't know, man. There's more than 0 grams of protein in cheese, brother.
Not in this one. Not in this one.
There's gotta be. I used to be a vegetarian, man. I used to have to fucking count that shit, man. There's protein. Am I wrong? It's milk.
There has to. It's milk.
Yeah, it's milk.
There has to be protein.
Milk is protein.
I don't know what bullshit fucking graphic you just pulled up, Manny.
This was from Kraft mac and cheese, but maybe, just maybe, there's not enough protein in a single serving of Kraft to be 1 gram. Like, there's no 0.5 grams on any of this shit.
I guess so. And Manic, we did talk about, I'm assuming you're talking about Fredo. We did talk about that, but that whole scene, oh my goodness, that's amazing. And look, we got Forge in the house. What's up, bro?
Station.
How you doing? Pressable Defects in the house. Haven't seen you in a while. Hope y'all are doing good. We need to hang out and have another chat again sometime, brother. Anyway, that's it. That's the movie. Now we got to rate it. Fuck. It's a break. We got to rate it. All right. This is that one time where the movie review is not as long as the movie, oddly enough. But we're spending a lot of time talking about this movie tonight, and I really appreciate it. All right. Time to rate The Godfather Part II. You out there in the chat, out of 5 possible you digs, what do you give Godfather Part II? Manny, kick us off.
This is a 5. Is just as good, if not better, than the first film. So it's a definite 5 you digs.
Good thing Perry's not here. It's unfortunate he had to deal with the power outage, but he would be like, "Yes, 4." I have to rewatch it because there was no subtitles.
Bro, how did no one tell me that fucking Robert De Niro was in this fucking movie? How?
Yeah.
Just wait till and the funny thing is, when he watches 3, he's not going to be like, "Oh, Andy Garcia's in this movie." He's going to have no idea who that fucking guy is, probably, because he's only seen like 0.2% of all the films out there. Anyway, 5 you digs from Manny, a perfect score to mirror his perfect score from last week. What about you, Brooks? What do you give this film? And we got to understand, you didn't understand a lot in the Italian sequences.
Yeah, it's like, despite that, I would still give this movie a 5. It's like, I think it's just a great story, you know. It's like kind of it's like, you know, it's like I said, it's like 2 great stories that kind of intertwine into one like even better story. And like, even though I didn't, you know, get all of the story, you know, from Vito's end, like still I could appreciate, you know, what was happening, like, you know, from what I could pick up of it, you know. I definitely need to rewatch, and I need to, like, you know, get the subtitles on and everything so I can, you know, appreciate it better. But still, you know, I can tell this is like this is a 5 movie. I don't want some like guy popping up behind me with piano wire and like fucking like choking me out to death. So
or a coat hanger. He chokes that one dude with a coat hanger, man. Yeah. Like, what the fuck, dude? That's awesome. And by the way, the guy that tries to kill Frankie Langella, fucking Porky Beans guy, that's Danny, what's his name? From Hudson Hawk.
Yeah, Danny Aiello.
The right thing, yeah.
Danny Aiello, yeah. He also passed away.
Yeah, he did. Damn, we need to do Hudson Hawk, y'all. I know that's going to be disappointing to y'all, but that's one of my favorite fucking movies.
Let's not say we did.
I don't give a shit what you say. I don't give a shit what you say. But even though you didn't get the subtitles in the version you watched, Brooks, you get the gist. They steal a carpet. He kills this guy. There you go. And then I love the bit, of course, when he goes back and they're like, it's so powerful in the beginning when they kill his brother.
His brother after both his brothers,
right? And then they try to kill him because they're like, he's going to grow up and take revenge. And then he does.
He does.
Bro, that's great. He's like, here's the olive oil we use. Yeah. He fucking
the whole scene with his mother like attacking the other Don. I have no idea what was going on for that.
They were killing off the Andolini name. He was an Andolini. Yeah.
So like the dad said something that offended the godfather of that town. Corleone was the name of the town, right? Because his name is Vito Andolini. Right?
His name's Vito Andolini.
What happened to a lot of people in Ellis Island is that they would just their last names became the name of where they were from because they were just they show that they're the chaos, like they don't understand what's going on. They just whatever. And I love the bit too where he has to like quarantine, and he's looking at the Statue of Liberty, like singing and shit. Like, I don't know, man. It's a really fucking nice scene. And then it goes to Michael's kid. And I don't know if it's the same actor, but it might be the kid's brother or something, because they're very similar in look. Yeah, that's good shit. But yeah, so there's that. And then the idea is she's saying the kid that they find is Vito's brother. They killed him because he went to seek revenge for his father's death. And they're going to kill the kid, Vito, because they're like, he tells them, and she's like, the mom's like, no, like, he's weak.
He's dumb. He's weak.
He's dumb. He's young. He's weak. Yeah. And they're like, he's going to grow up, become strong, and come and kill me. So I got to kill him now. Right. Yeah. And then she's like, run, Vito, run. And then they kill her, and he escapes away. Right. Yeah. Good stuff, though. 5 you digs from Brooks. A perfect score, matching his score from last week's discussion on The Godfather. What about you, Jelani? What do you rate this film?
Yeah, man. Last week I said, Godfather's a 5. Always. Will always be a 5. But there's one that's one better. So this movie, I give a 5.69, dude.
We'll allow it. Station. Yeah, we'll allow it.
Yeah, brother. Yeah. Because it's too clean. It's 2 different stories, 2 different lives. And you're right. It's the best tale of America and ever be told. It's absolutely gorgeous. You can't pick a better film that's higher than, well, there's some. There's still Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan. So I'll give it that. And of course, Citizen Kane, because I want to start that shit again.
Citizen Kane was made in a cave. Scraps.
Orson Welles made this movie in a cave with scraps.
Brooks, you behind? I'm just kidding. So a 5, a perfect score from Jelani.
Absolutely. It's fantastic. Dude.
I'm not going to break it either. It's 5 you digs. Like I just said, like for the first time in my life, I actually believe part 2 is better than part 1. I love part 1 so much. And I've always loved part 2, but I get it now. I get it. I understand the nuance. I understand the subtlety of it. I understand the refinement of the technical skill on this one compared to the first one. The freedom that Francis, our buddy, had in this one. I get it, man. It's fucking amazing. It is it's the greatest sequel ever made. I'm sorry. It's a better film than Bride of Frankenstein. I love Bride of Frankenstein. I love Bride of Frankenstein, y'all. I think we all gave it 5 you digs when we talked about it, right? We all love that movie. But Jesus Christ, y'all. Come on. Like, so good. This movie is so good. It's crazy. Like, it's not even fair. You know what I'm saying? It's a goddamn perfect movie. It's not just one of the greatest. It's not just the greatest sequel ever. It is one of the greatest American films ever made. Yeah. Right behind Citizen Kane. Right behind Citizen Kane. So a 5 from everybody around.
I'd say Last Jedi and then maybe Citizen Kane. But it's fun close.
A 5 from everybody around. But Jelani had to kick us up to a 5.69. So I think everybody's cool if I just average us out for a PCP score of 5.69, dudes. Yeah, absolutely. All right. And then out there in the chat, it's pretty much the same thing. Big Llama Show says 5 you digs. And then says 5 cannolis. So that's even extra, right? 2 Gun Pedro says 5 you digs. 1 collection down. That's our man Fable, 5.69. What's up, my man? Jorm gives it 5 you digs. I mean, we're all in agreement. Yeah, they never filmed on set together.
That's right. Because they couldn't.
Yeah. All right. So that's the shit. What are you doing?
I don't know. My fucking my OBS went fucking nuts. There. I bumped something on the keyboard. Damn.
I can't wait to be called Chills for fucking Godfather after this review. That doesn't happen on the movie reviews. It only happens on my comic reviews. We've already alluded to it. But next week, join us on PCP Movie Night when we talk about The Godfather Part 3. But we will also be watching Godfather Coda, The Death of Michael Corleone, which is the recent re-edit that Francis Ford Coppola did. So that's next week on PCP Movie Night. But before that, join us Saturday for a Thanksgiving horror-thon when we talk about Blood Rage. I've never seen this movie. Dylan says it's good. A Thanksgiving-themed slasher film. So sure, I'm down, and it's from the 80s, so sure. So Blood Rage on Dylan's Horror Show on Saturday night, and next Monday night, The Godfather Part 3, aka Godfather Coda, The Death of Michael Corleone. Spoilers, I guess. But anyway, it's way more than that. Best one in the series could have been the first movie. It could have been.
Yeah.
It really could have been. And they did do the edit, the Godfather saga, where they told it in chronological order. They played that on TV, and they used some deleted scenes, some cut scenes they put back in. And it starts with the Robert De Niro stuff and goes into Godfather Part 1 and then to the rest of 2, right? It's an interesting way to watch the film, but it does lose that parallel of those two stories in Part 2. So it's not the best way. I wish we could get that as like a feature. Maybe it's a feature on the newest box set or something, but that would be cool to have as an option, I think. So anyway, next week, Godfather Part 3. Before that, Blood Rage, just as good of a film as I'm assuming as Godfather 2 on Dylan's Horror Show. Manny, final thoughts? What you got coming up? Anything you want to plug? What's going on?
I have absolutely nothing to plug at all. So definitely don't head over to nerdtasticnews.com to check out my shorts every single day. There's something there. So don't do that. That's fucking hackneyed. There's nothing there. Don't go to nerdtasticnews.com. And if you're into toys, don't go check out ee.toys/Chamorro to get 10% off anything you want over at Entertainment Earth. Don't fucking do that. That would be shilling. That would be influencing. I don't want to end up on somebody's IG feed. Don't fucking do that. But
you don't want to be like a Michael Corleone.
No, absolutely not. So don't go to ee.toys/Chamorro. Get 10% off. Don't use Holiday 39 to get free shipping for all orders over $39 from channel sponsor Entertainment Earth. Don't fucking do that, you guys. Don't do it over on nerdtasticnews.com.
Sounds good. What about you, Brooks, man? Thank you for being here. Final thoughts, brother?
I actually do have something to promote this time. Like, we're doing episode 3 of our me and buddy over here's new thing, Go Figure. And there's going to be some like guests from what I hear. Maybe we'll eat a whole turkey in front of everybody, in the spirit of Thanksgiving. I can't promise that, but I'm not saying it won't happen either. So, you might want to check that out if it suits your fancy, of course. But
hell yeah. Y'all are doing great work with that show. I'm really, really proud of y'all. And Jelani, I got to send you some graphics, and you got to send me some graphics too, so I can use them in some promotional material. Done. I would love it. And if Manny,
thanks, Manny.
Send me the intro or
you
whatever.
You could send Manny.
Good stuff.
Thank
in fact,
you.
If you give
their last Kevin Conroy episode was fucking phenomenal. Inspired me to go out and spend some money.
Did anybody pull out a superpowers Batman on that one, like an old school superpowers Batman?
No, I didn't have an old school. That was
because I saw where you pulled out the new one. I was like, man, I wish I could have been there for that, man.
Yeah, man. I wish you were there too, man. Yeah. It's all good.
What did you buy, Manny? I'm sorry, bro. I interrupted you. You bought something.
No.
It
was the Batman Who Laughs. It's not really from the Kevin Conroy, but it inspired me to go buy it. I don't have a superpowers Batman though. I do have Robin and I do have Joker, but I do not have a Batman though.
Yeah, I got to refocus some efforts back on my superpowers collection because I got some pieces I got to pick up on that. But
yeah,
I love those damn toys. Anyway, Jelani, tell us, Go Figure, what's coming up this Wednesday?
Well, all right. Go figure. Brooks and I will be doing a Thanksgiving show and tell. It's going to be our first.
Someone throw a link in the chat, by the way, to the channel if we got a mod here.
Yeah, anybody. So Go Figure. We're gonna have 6 panelists on. We are looking for a 6th. We got 5 guys pretty much coming on, and we're gonna do just basic show and tell. Just show 5 of our favorite figures for that day. It'll be a Thanksgiving edition. Brooks got Peanut stuff. I got Masters of the Universe. We're just gonna go out and show out play sets, whatever we want to show and tell. That's what we're gonna do on Wednesday night, 8:00. Be there, or Central Time, by the way. So be there, be square. We will totally be doing this like off the cuff. So it's our first live stream. So any donations are possible. I'm gonna shill. So let's shill for the real ones, for the go figures. So yeah, come see us. And like I said, 6 spot is open. So if any of you guys want to go, you just letting you know it exists.
All right.
Anyhow,
Wednesday night, Go Figure reviews. Check that out. I appreciate everybody joining us. Saturday night, Dylan's Horror Show, Blood Rage, and Godfather Part 3. Next week on PCP Movie Night. And then we're going to be kicking off our Christmas Fest, just 2 weeks, but we're doing Go, which is a Christmas movie, and we're doing Batman Returns, which is a Christmas movie. It's going to be a fun 2 weeks in December, and you can catch me the day after Christmas on Scarpad Sci-Fi Sojourns, where we'll be talking about 2001: A Space Odyssey. Very excited for that one. And if you missed that show, it's on Scarpad's Comic Treks, and it's out on they go live on Monday nights before we go live. So at 6:30 Eastern, no, 6:30 Central, they go live, and it's at the tail end of my Dynamite show. But they've been doing a good show over there, Dylan, Perry, and Scarpad. So I just wanted to shout them out. Check out Go Figure reviews with my man Brooks and Jelani. Really great stuff there, man. We love y'all. Thank you so much for being here. We are dipping out. We're saying goodbye. And the last thought I got to say is this. I knew it was you, PCP Army. You broke my heart. Now I'll give you a very vigorous kiss. Like an angry fucking kiss. We've all been there. You broke my heart. Actually, y'all mend our hearts every day. Thank you for being here. Catch you next time. And happy Thanksgiving.